go out and they count birds. Now, in the 50s up until the early 80s, ravens were extremely rare in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And around the 80s, all of a sudden this number of birds basically does what we call explodes, or it increases exponentially. All right. Conversely, the number of Steller's jays, also in the Corbett family, within our campgrounds, we find that the numbers of those jays are 7 to 9 times greater than they are in the areas outside, in the forest outside. So why do you guys think this is? Most of you probably know the answer. Humans, exactly. It's all about us. It's all about the availability of food sources. Now, we've done a pretty excellent job with some of this oil spill money, installing new food lockers and garbages. But we can do more. I've got a video I'll show you guys all at the very end. It's a 6-minute video that we created. It's in all the visitor centers in all of these parks. And it gives people a nice overview of the bird, and we've also got some natural history. But what we found is that most of the marbled murrelets that we have found their nests, most of those birds that we have seen, turns out that they have been eaten, either their egg or their chick has been eaten by a jay or a raven. So we've got some video and pictures of this. It's a little Discovery Channel, and I'll save it for later. But we've got this problem that we have this increase of people in these areas, and we have an increase in availability of food. And these birds, they just come where the food is. They're extremely adaptable and very intelligent. And their numbers will continue to increase unless we do something about it. I'm going to leave Alex and Rachel to talk a little bit about the Corbett management, but we've been doing quite a few different things in that avenue, including making a whole bunch of new signs. This is one of the drafts, and you guys will all be very familiar with the sign. We're going to be putting it basically everywhere, including on all of the new food lockers that we have. All right. Some of this oil spill funds a project called Condition Taste Aversion, which is awesome. It's this great project where we are looking at using the intelligence of jays to train them not to eat the eggs of marbled murrelets. So we put a chemical into an egg, a chicken egg. The chemical is called carbachol. It's an emetic. It makes you feel sick and throw up. We then seal them and paint them to look like marbled murrelet eggs, put some Velcro on them, and we put them out in the forest, where I've got a bunch of motion sensor cameras up there, and we got a lot of jays interacting with them. And when a jay interacts with it, it will take a taste of it, and then it will feel sick. And it's like the experience we've all had where we've eaten at a restaurant or eaten some type of food, and we will never go back there again because of the way it made us feel. So this is what an egg will look like after the jay has taken a taste out of it. And the takeaway from this is that we've done 2 summers. We did a season in 2012, and we did a 2013 season where we put all these eggs out in the forest, and then a few weeks later we go back and we put another set of eggs out. And we're looking to see, does that number change? And what we're finding is that this is the percentage of uneaten eggs. So the number of uneaten eggs has increased. So this shows us that we are training these birds not to eat the eggs. So we're really excited about this as a management tool, in addition to all of the other management activities we've been doing. All right. So I want to finish by telling you about this chick right here. So when the marbled murrelet has been on the nest for 30 days after it hatches, it maintains that downy coat, that dappled shade, little puffball form. And on its very last day, it doesn't get a feeding. The parents don't bring it food. And so during the day, it furiously pecks off all of that down, and underneath it, it's a fully feathered formed bird. And these nests are located 100, 200, 300 feet up in these old trees. Now, after it's plucked off all of its down feathers, it leaps from this branch hundreds of feet off the ground, having never flown before, and flies all the way to the ocean, place it's never been before, and fishes and takes care of itself, all on its own. And it's such a fascinating story for a bird that doesn't get the chance to practice flying, has never been to these places before, and does this all alone without any assistance from a parent. So you can make out here little bits of the down feathering that still remains, that it didn't get off. Now, unfortunately, this bird didn't make it to the ocean. You can imagine that this wouldn't always be so easy. So occasionally these birds don't make it and will be found on the forest floor. But because of the way their body's shaped, they're not able to actually take off again. So if you guys see one of these birds out there in the forest or hear of a visitor seeing one, we're going to have signs telling people all about this. I want you to collect it, bring it in, and we'll take it out to the ocean and release it because every one of these birds counts. So, all right, that's it.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Alex. I'm one of the rangers at Big Basin Rebel State Park, and I'm going to be talking about keeping it crumb clean. So, what's that? It's a grizzly bear. Who's seen a grizzly bear in the Santa Cruz Mountains? Raise your hands. Ah! Boom! There you go. You actually have seen one. Most of you, if you've seen a grizzly bear in the Santa Cruz Mountains, you've seen it over there. On our patches, right? Why? Why don't you see them roaming around?
We asked them to leave.
They've been extirpated. They're extinct in the Santa Cruz Mountains. They're extinct in California. Even though the symbol of our state, they are extinct in California. Who has seen a blurry picture of a marble murrelet in the Santa Cruz Mountains? Now you all have, because you're seeing one. But marble murrelets, right? Even if you've never seen a marble murrelet in the Santa Cruz Mountains, I assure you, we do have them. Look at that little guy. And if we don't want these guys to go the same way as these guys, then somebody needs to do something about that, right? Who's going to do something about that?
We are.
You. You are going to do something about that. All of us together working on this. So let's like we said, we got oil spills, we got fishing, we got all sorts of impacts in the ocean. We're not working out there in the ocean, we're working in the Santa Cruz Mountains, right? So let's meet the enemy that we're facing. Corvids. Stellers, jays, and ravens. Also crows, meh. These are the two big guys. We've already heard that their numbers are huge. Huge! 7 to 9 times as many corvids live in the campgrounds as live in the surrounding forest. Ravens used to be non-existent. Now I see them every morning. I see them all the time. And jays. So a current study that's going on in Big Basin Rebel State Park has captured 250 to 300 jays, individual jays, and banded them so that we know that's an individual. Of those, despite the fact that Herculean effort was put into capturing them out in the forest away from the campgrounds, 12 of those birds were captured outside of the campgrounds. 12. So that means only like 0.5% of the whole study has been captured outside of the campgrounds. So it shows you how big the numbers are in the campgrounds. Campgrounds are sucking in those birds. Why? People leaving out trash. People leaving out trash. It's a food supplement. Their numbers are better. The jays that live in the campgrounds are healthier. They have better breeding success. This is all from the unpublished study that's going on. So these birds are doing well. They're doing well. Their numbers are going through the roof because of the food that's provided in the campgrounds. So what are we going to do? We got to reduce their numbers. We got to reduce their numbers. CTA is having some initial success, but ultimately the capacity of the campgrounds to increase the numbers of corvids is causing a massive problem. And we need to be able to control that problem. So we got kind of two options. Option number one is we kill them. And we are killing the ravens. Ravens, like we said, is not considered a part of the ecosystem in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So we're killing them. You notice that watch? So I'm killing them. I don't like killing things. I'm a vegetarian. I don't like killing things, but I'm trying to do my part to save the marble mullet. Steller's jays are a little bit different, right? Steller's jays are a natural part of the redwood forests. We want them out there. We want them to live their natural lives out. So, in a lot of ways, this is not a problem with wildlife management. It's a problem with managing people. We've got to teach people the right way to be out in the redwood forest if we're going to control the population of corvids. Because corvids are just doing what they naturally do. They find an easy food source, they want to have an easy food source. What we got to do is we got to deny them that easy food source. And that is where you come in. So we're already working at this. Raise your hand if you're an interpreter. Oh, yeah, I screwed up this thing. So we're going to do that through two ways. Information and enforcement. So, raise your hand if you're an interpreter. All right, if you're an interpreter, you're doing a good job of connecting people to the marble mullet. If people know about the marble mullet, they know about the issues the marble mullet are facing, we're helping to get the image out there that this is a bird worth protecting, worth saving, right? Right.
Right.
You know, we've got camp. By the way, have you seen that photo of that bear before?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So we're doing it through traditional interpretation. If you're an interpreter out there, find a way to connect almost any theme back to the marble mullet. We got to be on topic. We got to be on topic. We got to be on topic. We got to let folks know the marble mullets are out there, they're facing peril, and that everyone can do something to help protect them. Another thing we're doing, which is new this year, is the Crumb Clean campaign. New this year?
Sort of.
Sort of. We rolled it out.
Yeah.
We rolled it out last year. We're going to rolling it out more. Roll it. All right. So we've got signage. We've got signs on entrances to every campground. This is a Crumb Clean campground. We've got messages when people sign in, like the Crumb Clean commitment. We've got signs on every food locker explaining being crumb clean. We saw one of the food locker signs already. So we're keeping on message that way. We also got to talk to people, and that's one of the things that I'm going to talk to you folks about, is giving you folks some talking points for talking to folks out there. We all got to be on message. If you're a uniformed state park employee, you got to be on message. And one of the things that we were talking about on Monday at the office was it's kind of like if somebody in a uniform walks by and doesn't say anything, that dilutes the message. We don't want to have a diluted message. If we have a diluted message, then our message is meaningless. So we don't want to have a diluted message, so we all got to be on topic. That's if you're a volunteer, you're wearing the uniform. If you're a concessionaire, you're wearing the uniform of the park for all practical purposes. You know? Because what does everyone say when they see somebody in a uniform? They say, oh, that's the ranger. The ranger said. So if the ranger doesn't say, we're all the ranger out there. All right? So we're all going to be on message. So let's, we're going back to that Crumb Clean commitment because it's a good way of breaking down some talking points. So we're going to go through some of these talking points real quick. We're going to read them out loud. Raise your hand if you work at an entrance station or kiosk or headquarters. Raise your hand if you work at a concessionaire that checks in campers. All right. So, we're going to give these to every single camper that checks in. And we're going to read it through with them. And they're going to sign the bottom signature. By signing this commitment, I am acknowledging that I have read and understand the rules regarding food storage, and I will keep it crumb clean. Yeah. All right. So let's break it down. Big takeaway message. Say it all. Everyone.
Never feed wildlife.
Never feed wildlife. Never feed wildlife. All right. How? How do we never feed wildlife? For top one. You right there.
We never leave food coolers or trash unattended, including cut food, paper plates, bags, and wrapper or candles.
Right. So, has anyone ever seen a Steller's jay eating a citronella candle? I have. I have.
Why?
Why? Because they smell like food.
It has nothing to do with building egg, stuff they need for eggs or anything?
I seriously doubt it. Or else, I mean, maybe they eat wax myrtle berries, but I don't think so. I think that just it smells like berries, so they eat it. So, number 2. Since you already said something, Scott, why don't you read number 2 for me?
Store all food and smelly items in your car or in the metal food lockers, even if you are away for only a short time.
A short time, by the way, if you're not looking at your food, you should put it away. Portia was telling me a story that she was up there with the Costco Busan Council. She was up there with the Costco Busan Oil Spill Council. She spread some cream cheese on her bagel, set it down, turned around, did something, came back, and Estelle J was eating it. And that's somebody, a resource ecologist. No, she's doing the right thing. High fives. High fives. No, don't boo. That's what it's a changing of a message. This is not something that people are used to. So that's why we all got to be on message. We all got to deliver that message. We all got to deliver it strong. Even for a short time. Number 3. Who wants to read number 3? Susan.
Properly dispose of all trash, even crumbs, bacon grease, and other food scraps. The fire ring or the bushes are not proper places to dispose of trash.
I've seen Stella J's eating mud that had bacon grease in it.
Oh.
Gross.
Yummy.
So, why? Why is the second part of this. We got the what do we want you to do, how you do it, and why you do it. Why? Superintendent Lingenfelter, first thing on why.
Why? The park is home to the marbled murrelet, an endangered seabird that needs these big trees to nest.
Perfect. Number 2, who wants to read it? Sergeant Bertram.
MJs eat marbled murrelet eggs and chips.
Number 3. Yes.
Human food left by park visitors causes a huge increase in the number of ravens and jays threatening the survival of marbled murrelets.
Number 4. Carrie.
Feeding wildlife or leaving food or trash unattended is against the law and can result in fines up to $875.
I did not make that number up, by the way. That is the actual Santa Cruz County bail schedule for interfering with wildlife. For a misdemeanor violation of interfering with wildlife. $875 fine. That doesn't mean the first ticket is $875, but it can go up that high. So, man. The last. Yes.
If we don't reduce the numbers of jays and ravens through being crumb clean, state parks might have to close down the campgrounds to protect the marbled murrelet.
Wow.
Right. Punchy. To the point. So these are our talking points. So, what do I want you to do as an individual out there in the park to keep it crumb clean, to be on message, to do what needs to be done? First off, you see a piece of trash?
Pick it up.
Pick it up! Don't leave trash on the ground. Don't leave trash on the ground. If you're not responding to an emergency, stop. Pick it up. All right. If you see a dirty campsite,
Report it to you.
no. Don't just, yes, but there's more to it.
Yeah.
So, if you see a dirty campsite, it's an unoccupied dirty campsite, which means the people are there, or should be, are still camping there, they're not around. Stop.